Hey there, good morning. I'm meteorologist Ben Peine here with your Benetton live weather streaming show here throughout southern Indiana and Kentucky. And we have on this February 3rd a rain snow mix that we're going to be talking about. And this is a clogged up version of myself. I've got the Kleenexes ready to go for the show. So you might, hopefully, no sneezes, but there might be a cough every once in a while as we're battling some congestion here today. So we do have a winter weather advisory, by the way. I just posted about that for areas along and north of Interstate 64. And hey, take a sip every time you hear me say along and north of Interstate 64 today, like yesterday. We've got the grumpy cat here, this coffee cup given to me by my mom, who watches a lot, Laura Young. And the grumpy cat because not the best weather here for later on today. So cheers to you guys. Good morning. And I think we'll just see kind of a light, slushy, wet accumulation. I think the roads are mainly going to be wet today, and especially late this afternoon as it develops and into part of the evening time. But maybe some slick spots to watch out for the evening commute. Our key component here for today's little wintry system is that temperatures are going to be above freezing. So the treatment's going to work really well. And there's going to be kind of a wet, kind of melty snow. Usually that's not a huge impact here for us. But then late tonight with a north breeze, our low temperatures will go to the lower 20s. So we'll need to maybe watch out for some leftover slick spots out there. Hey, this has been at 10 Monday through Friday. We go for about 45 minutes or so talking about all things weather. We got weather jokes, weather history, weather countdown. We got the weather models. We'll look at everything. We got a full show here loaded up for you. Thanks for hitting the like or the share to help spread the show out there. And also subscribing on YouTube. So you can watch on several different platforms, whichever is your favorite, whether that is YouTube, whether it's on the World Wide Web at extolmag.com/weather, or on my page or Extol Weather's page as well. And we'll look at your comments. Thanks for popping in, saying hello. Let us know where you're watching from, or if you have any weather questions, feel free to drop those in too. So the radar and satellite showing just a little bit of light precipitation, trying to show some drizzle over Louisville. Let me know if anybody's had like a drizzle drop out there, but I haven't seen anything out my door. So maybe we're getting a few of these little sprinkles here over the south sections of Metro Louisville that we can see right there. And then the slight snow so far has been up here around central Indiana, kind of along and just south of Interstate 70. But most of the little system is going to be developing later on this afternoon. And so that's why we have the winter weather advisory for later on today and this evening as well. So that's what's happening right now. Again, our temperatures are above freezing, so that is definitely an important factor to limit the impacts with this system for today. If you're new to the program too, just want to let you know, we give you the forecast here right off the bat with the current conditions. Then we'll take a longer look at the forecast through about 10:20, and then we'll start to look at the long range data and some of the weather model data as well. After that, if you want to stay around and get extra weather nerdy here with us on a February 3rd, your weather headlines, rain, snow mix developing later today. I would say late afternoon to around sunset is when we'll have the steadiest precipitation across the area. If you're south of 64, say Bullitt County South, you're probably going to see mostly rain, maybe a little sleet. Along and north of 64 is where we could have this 1 inch or less of wet, slushy snow. And then we're quiet for the rest of this week for the most part. And some fluctuating temperatures. Friday, we may hit the low 50s for the first time. No, take it back, not 50s, low 40s. Don't want to get your hopes up. Low 40s for the first time since January 22nd. So here is a look at where we have the winter weather advisory. Again, that's that kind of purplish area there for much of southern Indiana, and then areas along and north of 64 in Kentucky. So here is a look at 5 p.m. today. You can see this mix north, a little bit of wet, slushy snow, and then the south half of our area, some rain, maybe a little sleet mixing in. Some of the latest totals here that I've seen showing just some little slices of around, again, about 1 inch or less. Not anything real significant, maybe a little bit more for some areas off to the east. So that's what we're talking about here for today. And we'll take a look at here some comments as well as we get rocking and rolling here this morning. All right, let's see who's popping in here. We have Emmanuel right off the top here from Indianapolis, one of our new viewers. Cheers to you. Thanks for tuning in here. Orlean Whitlow with a healthy 34 degrees. Oh my gosh, this ice. What are we going to do with it? Still not melted off. Yep, little system moving through here. Emmanuel, Barbara Haas, good morning again. You sound like you're catching a cold. I think I've caught it. I think it's inside. And hopefully we can get rid of this cold soon. As I mentioned before, we got the Kleenexes loaded up for you. So hopefully I don't sneeze right onto the camera, all right onto your computer or your TV, whatever you're watching from. Dennis Gregory, I haven't had any meds today, though. So that's good. I did take some NyQuil last night, and it didn't really help. We get a happy Tuesday from Dennis Gregory from Bedford, Indiana. Where's the sun? Asking for a friend. Might get a little bit of sun back tomorrow, and especially for Thursday, but today, not so much. Perry Porter, good morning. Hope you're feeling better. My sinuses are awful too. Not better yet. I'm going to just take it easy today and force myself to not do much. Carla Snotty, good morning from Jeffersonville. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. We've got Rita Lee. Thank you so much for watching here this morning. And thanks, Dennis, for that report. I saw some returns on the radar up around Bloomington, but I looked at the Bloomington camera and I didn't see any snow there either. So there's not much happening here through the morning time. I would say mid to late afternoon, Edna, is when we start to pick up some of this light wintry precipitation. In my opinion, not a biggie with this system. Just kind of a nuisance. But Mike saying no more snow, but unfortunately we're talking about a little bit more. Not much in the long range data, though. We've got 35 in Lillian's backyard. That's good. Another healthy number. We like it above freezing. And Claire Matthews with a good morning, too. Thank you guys for tuning in here. And Brenda Collings just dropping in from Hanover. Thank you so much. All right, let's get back to the weather maps here. And we'll take a look at some current conditions. So it's just showing some very light precip. Again, a lot of this not even touching the ground. Maybe some sprinkles in Louisville as that passes through. Let me know if you're getting a sprinkle or whatever out there. And let's bring up to the stage here. This is our website here, extolmag.com/weather. Your weather resources 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We got the live stream up that you can see right there. Thanks for subscribing to that. 33 degrees in Louisville at the Extol Media Studios. Very light breeze today, so that's good. So not much of a wind chill out there. And we're getting a little melty, just a little melty as we have above freezing temperatures. Brand new 7-day forecast that I posted right here. You can see it's pretty quiet looking. And tomorrow and Thursday, we're back below freezing, but then we're above freezing beyond that. Heading in the right direction slowly. Brand new weather story that I have posted here that has your weather countdown jokes and history too. And a hint in our weather history, it was a sad day for music. A hint there as we look at that. You get your regional radar, national and regional watches and warnings right here, your interactive map, which we could expand out and does include, I'm not sure it's why it's starting off there in Kansas, but we'll move it back here over our region. So with the weather radar, it's like this rain thunder layer right here. That's actually a future cast. And you can go down here and hit play. And this is going to play out the weather for the rest of today, which this is going into the afternoon, evening. Quick little system moving on through with that right there. Not much else for the rest of this week. But you got wind gusts, you got satellite, radar, all different. There are dozens of weather layers right there that you can mess around with. And this is a look at our another interactive map, which layers on the side here. Showing just a little bit of light precip. Most areas are dry and temperatures all above freezing. Loving that out there here. Hey, before we really get rocking and rolling, I want to take some time to thank our partners and sponsors here on Ben at 10. And a quick live look here with the Falls of the Ohio Foundation.org camera with the frozen tundra looking camera still here along the locks and dam there. Thinking spring here at Grant Line Nursery and Garden Center. They've got a warm, toasty 80-degree greenhouse there with their tropical plants, but they're also getting the plants ready for you already. You can see them working like nonstop throughout the day, potting the plants. That can be in your yard porch coming up in April and May, but they're already busy at it right there. I want to thank our partners here at Clog Busters. I need to bust the clog in my sinuses here. Clog Busters Plumbing Services with a Z. They got you covered throughout the Commonwealth. 859-495-3552. Clearing the way one flush at a time. The plumber you want to call, you can look at their website here, clogbustersplumbing.com, and see all of their services as well. Lions Roofing. We're going to talk about a little bit about ice jams on the roof and what that can do. You don't want that to happen. That can cause a leaky roof. But hey, if you have any issues, see any spots in the ceiling, want to get a quote, gutter issues, they got you covered here on both sides of the river, protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime. It's Lions Roofing, LYONS. Call them 812-294-3595 or head to their website, lionsroofingco.com. It's Tuesday. That means it's Tuesdays at the Tech. Ivy Tech Community College, Sellersburg campus, right here in our backyard, 9 miles north of Louisville, Highway 311 and I-65. You go right to this page right here. You can click on Tuesdays at the Tech if you ever want to learn more. They can hook you up. You can head right to their campus. You can hook up with one of their faculty members where they will take you around, give you a tour. Maybe you're not completely decided yet. They'll give you some career coaching, help you register if you do get ready, and also find some ways to help you pay for that college as well, possibly with a lot of veterans benefits. And I want to thank my buddy Michael Long here with American Family Insurance. My insurance agent might be able to be yours as well. If you want to get a quote, maybe find some ways to save, tell them I sent you, 812-578-3072. Or you can go to amfam.com and search Michael Long. And hey, it's Tuesday. Again, thanks to our partners out there. And that means it's Two-Tip Tuesday from that guy right there, Michael Long. So what does this mean? He's got some tips for you. So here's what we're talking about. Number one tip, ice dams. These are ridges of ice that form on the edge of your home's roof that trap water in pockets behind the ridge, causing water to work itself back up under the shingles and cause damage and leaking. Best to use roof rakes, steam, or calcium chloride to remove the ice dam and mitigate potential damage. Now, life tip number two, if you find a toilet in your dream, don't use it. I love tip number two there. Number two, number two and number two. Okay. That's one of our weather jokes of the day there, too. Thanks for brightening up our show here, Michael Long. All right, here, if you ever want to contact me, ben@extolmag.com is my email address. Advertising, marketing solutions, we can talk about that. Or if you just have a weather question, drop it in there to my email. Okay. Perhaps we've had a few comments popping in. Oh, Dennis said, for sinuses, I use Rootology. It has been a game changer. I had the snots last week, started taking them, and bing, bang, boom, all dried up. I'm going to have to look for that when I go out and about here today. Okay, Emmanuel, got some snow flurries out there at the Motor Speedway. Thanks for that right there. Karen Razor from the south end of Louisville. I've been to the Surf Ballroom in Crash Site in Iowa. Must visit for any music. Oh, there you go. The hint I was giving. Sarah Humphreys, good morning with the LOL and Mike Whaley. Very funny. All right, before we get to the forecast, I'm going to turn the mic away and I'm going to blow my nose because that's where we're at right now. And I'll do it off camera too. That's how much of a gentleman I am. Off camera, blowing the nose. Clogbusters, Rootology. Nice, solid head cold here. All right, we're moving along here. Okay, Orleans, and I have a question. Why is it this time so hard to get rid of this ice? because we had snow and sleet and rain. Yes, it is you got a little sandwich of that snow, sleet, rain combo, highly packed in moisture. Plus, um, we have a high albedo, and that is the incoming solar radiation bounces off the white color of the snow and right back out into space. It doesn't get absorbed. So you're not absorbing the warmth very much from the limited amount of sunshine that we've had. Plus, it's just been a very cold weather pattern, not much melting power for you, Orlean. Need some more sun, need some above freezing temperatures. Okay, here, let's dig into the weather show here for us, guys. And so a rain snow mix later this afternoon. Timing with that, I think it really will start to kick in mid to late afternoon. Pardon me once again. 1 inch or less of a wet, slushy snow, and we're going to get through it. Mainly around I-64 and north, and for that little slush, maybe some light rain, maybe a little sleet mixing in for some areas south, and pretty quiet for the rest of this week. There's a look at the winter weather advisory for much of southern Indiana and areas along and north of 64 and Kentucky. And again, take a sip of coffee every time you hear me say along and north of 64. There you can see along and north of 64. It's the snow on our map here at 5 p.m. today with a chilly rain to the south. So we're kind of evenly divided here with the snow north and the rain south. But this snow is not light and fluffy. It'll be slushy, kind of wet and slushy. And there's a look at some of the latest data from the HRRR High Resolution Rapid Refresh weather model. Just came out, and it shows some slices of that, like 1 inch or less for most areas, maybe a little bit more towards the bluegrass region of Kentucky. So our countdown here, average highs in the 50s in about 17 days. Hint, hint, we might be able to get there and maybe even warmer by that time. I'm still looking. We talked about this yesterday, around the 12th, 13th of February, maybe for that warm up. So that would be before Valentine's Day and my son's birthday. So right before next weekend, maybe a pretty good warm up here for us. St. Patrick's Day, 42 days. Spring begins in 44 with average highs back around 60 degrees by that time. Here's your stupid weather jokes of the day, guaranteed to be stupid. Why do birds fly south in the winter? Because it's too far to walk. I actually prefer the cold weather to a certain degree. Get it, degree? Why don't ants catch colds? Because they have very tiny antibodies. That one relates to me right now. Antibodies. All right. Funny jokes today. Our weather history. We're hitting about some of this today. 1844, Boston Harbor was so thick with ice that a channel had to be cut for the Britannia to leave with 30,000 letters to England. A lot of people writing to folks in England back in the day. 1917, bitter cold temperatures invaded Florida. Miami saw a low of 27. 1947, Snag, Yukon recorded North America's coldest temperature ever at minus 81.4 degrees. Did you know minus 40 Celsius and minus 40 Fahrenheit are the same? Here you go. The day the music died, 1959, at 12:55 a.m., a plane took off from runway 17 at the Mason City, Iowa airport, likely due to a pilot inexperience and a poor pre-flight weather briefing. The plane crashed. The 3 musicians on board and the pilot died instantly. That's Buddy Holly, JP, the Big Bopper, and Richie Valens. Sad day there. 1988, the temperature at Midland, Texas plunged from a record high of 80 down to 37 in just 5 hours. All right. We got good morning from Alice Young. We got a ha-ha for the good jokes for today. Hey, Beverly, thanks for jumping on, even though a little bit late. No worries there. Loving the jokes. Thank you for tuning in. And a high of 35 degrees today, so a little bit above freezing out there. Most areas are above freezing. There might be some areas that overachieve and maybe touch the upper 30s, especially in Kentucky. We got that rain-snow mix developing later this afternoon into the evening time with about 1 inch or less of some slushy snow possible in spots. I think overall, a lot of our roads will be wet, again, above freezing temperatures. We should be able to get the pavement temperatures above freezing. All key variables when we track these little tricky systems. Northeast winds at around 5 to 10, or sunsets are getting later at 6:08. And our low tonight, 22 degrees. So cold, and just watching out for the potential for some slick spots. There might be, if there's a little drizzle left over overnight, that could cause some slick bridges and overpasses. So just kind of keep that in mind for your Wednesday morning commute. Here's the forecast for tomorrow, your February 4th, 22 out the door, 26 at noon, 29 tomorrow afternoon. I think overall mostly cloudy tomorrow, but some peaks of sunshine. Our normal high is 46, so we're still more than 15 degrees below normal for this time of the year. This has been a very long-lasting cold weather pattern. But we predicted that way back in the day. Watch said, watch out for your late January and into February. All right, here's the 7-day forecast. We've got upper 20s for Wednesday and Thursday, a low down to 12 tomorrow night. And we've got this little disturbance moving into through the northwest flow Friday that might give us a sprinkle or a flurry. Not a big deal there. The bigger deal, hey, 43. That would be our warmest since January 22nd, when we had 41 degrees. And then we have temperatures maybe a little bit above freezing Saturday and Sunday. The GFS trying to give us a flurry chance Sunday. The Euro was dry. It looks like a little system maybe there. And then trying for some 40s by next Tuesday as well. So there we go. The big old 7-day forecast here for us. And now at 10:20, 10:21, we'll start to load up some of that. The weather model data. We might not go quite as long today. Try to save the voice a little bit. But let me get rid of that and add this guy up to the stage. There you see the gray start that we have across the area. Hey, there's Michael Long. They were cracking up at your don't use the toilet in your dream joke with 2-Tip Tuesday today. Very appropriate. The number 2 tip was about number 2. Okay. What's up, man? A little late to the show, but wanted to see when I can expect some snow here in the Bedford area and when it could impact the commute to Salem. Well, Bedford's not even under that winter weather advisory. I think you might get like maybe some flurries here and there through early afternoon, but mid to late afternoon when it starts to kick up a little bit. But you might be too far the west-northwest side to really see any kind of significant accumulation. And I think most of the roads are going to be in decent shape, a little bit wet. But I'll bring up this map for you, sir. This was the latest from the HRRR, High Resolution Rapid Refresh Weather Model. So let me get rid of this and add this to the stage. So if you look up to the northwest of Louisville, there's just not much out of this system. So I think it's going to be pretty wimpy for you up there in Bedford, not under the winter weather advisory. So I think the roads will be in pretty good shape. All right, there we go. Quick update there. And let's again bring up some of the model data here with another look at the RadSat, which is showing just a very light precip now. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the high resolution rapid refresh weather model, which I kind of liked the output that it was putting out here today. So let's look at the future radar. We will do the precipitation type. We'll head into the afternoon when we do expect most of this to become steadier. I would say mid to late afternoon is when it becomes a bit steadier. Let's see if we'll get this thing to load up here. Not showing anything right there. All right, we got HRRR. We've got precip type. We've got 4 p.m. today. Is anything going to load up on this? Let's try the NAM 3 kilometer. See if we can get some data to load up here. If not, we'll go to the backup system. All right, so that's not precip type. Let's see if the precip type will work. Okay, there we go. So this shows at 3 p.m. today, mostly like a light rain, little snow mixing into the north. I'm going to go to like 5, 6 o'clock later on today. I sound like Barry White. We're clogged up here. We got a good cold going on here, Michael Long. So there we go. Kicking in here at around 5 p.m. Notice for Michael Long, American Family Insurance up here in Bedford, the system as it starts to kick into gear is already moving south of your area. So I don't expect a huge impact here for you. Just south down towards Highway 150 through Orange County, through Washington County, might get a little bit of a dusting, but I think it's going to be kind of melty. We're talking about above freezing temperatures here for today. So my gut says very minimal impacts with this. But for a brief period of time, inch or less of a wet, slushy snow possible. And Mary Robertson saying, as a 15-year-old, I was devastated about the loss of Buddy. I sat and waited for the Courier Journal the next day, and it had very little on the crash. I had all this music and a couple of Richie Valens, one of the big boppers. So glad you have this on the site. Yeah. Thanks for letting us know about that. Sad day the music died on this date back in 1959. All right, here we go. So that's at 5 p.m. Here's a look at 7 p.m. as the system, excuse me, will be winding down a little bit later in the evening. So here's 7 o'clock. So along Interstate 64, a county north or south, still looking at a little bit of this kind of wet, slushy snow coming down there. But notice south of that, it's rain. And then as we head toward or just after sunset, you're seeing some of this starting to move out of Indiana around that time. Let's see if we'll get the HRRR high resolution rapid refresh. Okay, there we go. Let me back this up. So let's go back to around 3 o'clock. Now we're switched to the HRRR weather model. Maybe it's just not good data at 3 o'clock with this model. There we go. Okay, so initially here, this is mid-afternoon. Seeing a little bit of this snow up around Highway 50, maybe a little bit for Bedford, but again, Bedford not in that winter weather advisory. Then might start as, for many areas of southern Indiana, might start as some drizzle. All right, this is 3 o'clock. I'm going to pop ahead a couple hours here. Here's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. This afternoon. So again, right along and north of 64. Drink every time I say it. And then here's 6 o'clock today. 7. And then we'll load up 8 o'clock. So again, this is not like the snow we had last time, because last time we had the snow was in the teens. Now we're above freezing with this snow. So the treatment on the roads is going to work. It's going to be kind of a melty snow anyway. The pavement temperatures are expected to be above freezing. So there might be a period of time when we have the steadiest snow late afternoon, early evening, that it could overcome the pavement temperatures and we get some slick spots. But generally, I think we're talking wet roads for most locations. All right, then we're going to go and head towards later on into the night, around 10 p.m., and the system begins to wind down. But if we have some leftover drizzle and the cold air starts to come in from the north, we're going to north breeze tonight. That could drop us to the lower 20s. And that means still watch out for some slick spots during the overnight and for your Wednesday morning commute. This is 10 p.m., starting to see that snow down 64 towards Lexington and Moorhead, Kentucky. In the south of Lexington, just rainfall there. And now we'll watch the temperatures here. I'm going to stop this around 7 o'clock tomorrow morning because we got kind of a cold shot behind this system, as we're going to have highs below freezing again for the next couple of days. So these are your outdoor temperatures tomorrow morning. It looks like some lower to mid 20s in most locations. So again, if the roads aren't completely dry, watch out for some freezing spots out there early tomorrow morning. All right. Thanks for dropping in, Michael. Thanks for the 2-Tip Tuesday, by the way. And we'll see you later. So there's our morning tomorrow. And then we're going into the afternoon tomorrow, and not much of a warm up here for us. It looks like we're going to be pretty much stuck in the upper 20s. Thankfully, the winds won't be too strong, around 5 to 15 miles per hour. This is even showing lower 20. I think we'll do better than that. But not much of a warm up here for our Wednesday afternoon. Again, more than 15 degrees below normal for this time of the year. And there you go. There's that cold air that is entrenched over much of the Ohio Valley and the eastern United States. It is this stuck jet stream pattern that is allowing the cold Canadian door to remain wide open here for us, allowing our temperatures to remain below normal. I can bring up the 500 mil. Nope, that's not looking good there. Maybe on the GFS weather model, it'll look a little bit better. 500 millibar winds. These are up around 18,000 feet. We get a little rid of my little drawing here. So we continue to have this flow coming down from the north. The ridge is out west, so this is where all the warmer temperatures remain out west. And this is kind of the setup for the weather pattern into the weekend as well. Let me go into the weekend here as we start to look ahead. I'm going to go to Saturday the 7th. And this is the jet stream pattern again, showing a north flow. There's the polar jet dropping south. The ridge is out west. And it's going to start to really warm up out in the Great Plains, but we're kind of right on the edge. And we may not get a significant warm up until maybe late next week. That's around the 13th of February. I'm going to go to the 13th of February, see if we see a change in our jet stream pattern a little bit. There's a little bit of a troughiness right here. Let's see here. Get rid of my drawing again. So the jet stream flattens out a little bit late next week, coming in off the Pacific. So that might cut off the really cold air to the north. And let's just see what's below the jet stream. As we bring up the temperature map here, this is at 4 p.m. on February the 12th. And look at these colors popping in on the map. This is 2 days in a row. We've got a good warm up for late next week. Let's see if these trends can continue. There you go, my friends. If you are tired of old man winter, we need like a person for every season. We got old man winter. Who do we have for spring? I don't know. Spring, I don't know. Springtime Susie? I don't know. You guys can do better than that. All right. Young man. Oh, you got old man winter, young man spring. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. I'm trying. All right. You got Mike Webb. Thank you. Barb Rainbolt, thanks for tuning in here this morning. And Mike Whaley is way past tired of winter time. So as we soak up this map of 50s and 60s, it's time to move the mic, get a Kleenex, and blow the nose and get out of the camera view. Okay, that was a healthy one. Got the Clorox the table after this. Bruce for spring. There you go. All right. So there you go. Springing up, hopefully. And February is the month when I talked about this yesterday. You can get the first harbingers of spring, the first little flowers, that wildflowers that pop up, like daffodils and crocuses and things like that. I think a harbinger of spring is one of them as well. All right, so there we go. That's what we're hoping for. We're going to be looking at this day by day and trying to keep that trend continuing. And since we're looking at the long range data, that has been on a limb, going out on a limb, looking at the long range forecast, but still kind of on a limb. I just want to bring up the Climate Prediction Center's outlook. They're a division of the National Weather Service that looks at some of the longer range data. And this is the 6 to 10 day outlook here for us. And as I mentioned, with that jet stream, we're right on the edge. So look at the western 2/3 of the United States here through the 10-day outlook. This is all warmer than normal. So we need to try to get that to head our way with that flatter jet stream late next week. And this is all colder than normal. Still a dive in the jet stream here. So we will stay below normal with our temperatures here through it looks like Monday. Beyond next Monday, we should start to trend on the warmer side. So this is kind of front loaded with below normal temperatures over our area. That's why we're in the blue. But then I think we'll get influenced by some above normal temperatures past that. So past that is the 8 to 14 day outlook, which I think will slide into the orange. So there we go. So this is the 8 to 14 day outlook. And we're starting to see some of that orange heading our way. So I think we'll finally start to see some above normal temperatures late next week, maybe even some 50s. It's trying to tease us with some 60s, maybe not 60s, but I think we might make a run at some 50s late next week. So there you go. There's some hope if we want some melting to go on. I think it still could take quite a bit of time to melt off all this snow, especially in southern Indiana. They got up to around 10 to 12 inches of snow around, what was that, January 23rd, 24th, something like that. All right, there we go. There's the weather map. There's all that data right there. Lastly, okay, drop out there with the Starlink internet. Another dropout. We're still waiting on that fiber. We got the fiber ran, but we're waiting on it. All right. There we go. So this is not what we're going to have later on today. This is going to fill in mid to late afternoon into the early evening with that rain snow mix over us. So that is that. Here's another look at some current conditions out there with our trusty website, extolmag.com/weather. We get the live stream up. We're at 34 degrees. I love seeing that. These are some of the warmest temperatures we've had since January 22nd. So that will limit the impacts with this little wintry mix moving in later today as we continue to rise. Hey, it's only 10:37. We're at 34, mid to upper 30s today. That'll get our pavement temperatures above freezing. This is not a system to freak out about, but maybe still, if we get some steady enough snow showers along and north of 64, watch for some slick spots for that evening drive. Interactive radar maps and things you can mess around with here. 36 even now in Louisville, 37 I see. So there we go. We are all well above freezing. Frankfurt 38. So I definitely love seeing that. And here is a look at the Falls of the Ohio.org camera. And still looking rather cold out there with some ice on the Ohio River. All right, let's do the forecast recap as we're cruising along here. And if you missed it earlier, I was talking about Michael Long, one of the partners of the show. It was 2 Tips Tuesday. The first tip for insurance: ice dams. These are ridges of ice that form on the edge of your home's roof that trap in pockets behind the ridge, causing water to work itself back up under the shingles and can cause damage due to leaking. Best to use roof rakes, steam, or calcium chloride to remove the ice dam to mitigate potential damage. Life tip number 2: if you find a toilet in your dream, don't use it. Tip number 2. All right, Orlean Whitlow, you need to take care of yourself. I appreciate what you do. I will, but since I'm working from home, even if I don't feel good, we can still get through it. Thank you very much. Steve Gibbons, sun's peeping out once again. There in Brandenburg. Soak up all those sun rays. We're not going to have a lot here over the next couple of days. Again, that rain snow mix today here for your February 3rd, inch or less of some wet, slushy snow. That's mainly around and north of Interstate 64, and then pretty quiet for the rest of this week. There's a look at the areas under the winter weather advisory for this afternoon and evening. I think the steadiest will be late afternoon, early evening. There's this snapshot here is at 5 p.m. showing the wintry mix. And then here is some of the latest snowfall totals. Again, light amounts, a little bit slushy, possibly. Our countdown here, average highs in the 50s in 17 days. Around that time, we might actually get into the 50s. Some of the data was showing actually a mild last 2 weeks of February as we enjoy the Winter Olympics on the way soon. And we got Super Bowl Sunday coming up, too. Fun stuff. Time change in 33 days. St. Patrick's Day in 42. Spring begins in about 44 days, March 20th. Average high around 60 by that time. Our stupid weather jokes, always guaranteed to be stupid. Why do birds fly south in the winter? Because it's too far to walk. I actually prefer the cold weather to a certain degree. Why don't ants catch colds? Because they have very tiny antibodies. All right, weather history for today. The one that sticks out to me, 1959 at 12:55 a.m., a plane took off from runway 17 at the Mason City, Iowa airport. Likely due to pilot inexperience and poor pre-flight weather briefing, the plane crashed. 3 musicians and the pilot died instantly, that being Buddy Holly, JP the Big Bopper, and Richie Valens. The day the music died. I'm going to post this and the other stuff at noon on Facebook. A high of 35 today, at least. So a little getting some melting out there. The very most important thing is with a little sun, even if it's coming through the clouds, and above freezing temperatures, the pavement temperatures, we need to get that above freezing, and I think we're going to do that. So that'll help mitigate the impacts for late this afternoon and early this evening. Northeast wind at 5 to 10. 22 our low for tonight. Could see a light mix for a little bit into the evening time and then mostly dry overnight. Still watch for a couple slick spots tomorrow morning as we drop well below freezing down to 22. 29 will do it for the high tomorrow with a mostly cloudy sky and a north wind at around 5 to 15. Our 7-day forecast, upper 20s the next couple of days, down to 12 tomorrow night. One of our warmer days here in a while. Lower 40s Friday with maybe a sprinkle or a couple flurries, but mostly dry. Pretty quiet weekend so far. GFS was trying to hint at a couple snow showers or flurries Sunday. The Euro is dry. It's still going to iron that out a little bit, but doesn't look big there. And then late next week, we're going to try to warm things up more and more. So there you go. That is your 7-day forecast. And then once again, we want to thank our partners here on Ben at 10, your daily weather show at 10 a.m. Thanks for the like or share, by the way. Let's thank Spring, Grant Line Nursery and Garden Center. They are working away every day to make sure all the plants are growing so you can get them into your yard, your porch this April and May. You can warm up in their toasty 80-degree greenhouse. But thanks for their partnership here. And Clog Busters. We need to bust some clogs in my sinuses. But, hey, if you have any issues throughout the Commonwealth, give them a call. Clog Busters with a Z Plumbing Services, 859-495-3552. And we were talking about ice jams on the roof. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But if you have any roofing issues whatsoever, you want to get a quote, you want to get it checked out, I recommend you to go to Lyons Roofing, Lyons. This is at 81. You can call 812-294-3595, or you can head to lionsroofingco.com. They've got you covered in Indiana and Kentucky. Today is Tuesdays at the Tech. That is when you can register and get one-on-one information on how to move to the next level here. If you want to start a career or switch a career, you want career coaching, they're going to help you out and give you that advice. And if you're ready to do so, they can help you register and help you find ways to pay as well, making it accessible for you and many others. And they're expanding their campus. Big year for the folks here at Ivy Tech Community College in Sellersburg. And we had the 2-Tip Tuesday from Michael Long, American Family Insurance. So thanks for lightening up the show with tip number 2. Also, as we wrap things up, I want to thank my buddy Brad Weddington. Tomorrow is Wednesdays with Weddington. That's when we talk about anything around the home or custom home building. If you go to weddingtoncustomhomes.com, it will take you to this page right here. As we wait for it to load up there, we had a couple dropouts in the internet. Get well soon, Linda says. Thank you very much. Erica, I'm happy to see the slightly warmer temperatures. Sun trying to peak out there in Charlestown. That's good. Help warm up the pavement temperatures. Thank you, Lillian. Thanks for tuning in. Happy to spread the jokes there. There's Weddington Custom Homes. Now, again, if you're looking to build your dream home, I'll recommend you to Brad, and you can go to Weddington Custom Homes to learn more. And finally, a shout out to our partners, Libs Paving. They have so many jobs lined up and maybe a career lined up for you. If you go to the careers section for you or somebody you know that wants an opportunity here in the new year, you can apply it there online. Thanks again to all of our partners here, and get your weather information anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week here at extolmag.com/weather. That is going to do it for a clogged up sinusy show. Hopefully you guys are staying healthy, and I've avoided the cold up till now, even though my daughter had it and my son had it, but I finally got it. So we'll keep plugging away, though. Thank you very much, Erica, for tuning in here this morning. Mimi's Jewelry Box. Good morning. I have the same thing on the way to the doctor. I'm going to try to plug away without the doctor because it's not too bad yet. And Orly can get a little sunshine there in Hodgeville at 37 degrees. Good deal. Again, just watching out for maybe a few slick spots for the evening commute. Shouldn't be a big deal for most of us. And we'll keep an eye on that for later on today. Otherwise, again, pretty quiet for our first week of February. We'll tune in tomorrow to check out the potential warm-up for late next week. We'll keep an eye on that one as well. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the like, the subscribe, whether it's on my page, Meteorologist Ben Peine, Extol Weather on Facebook, Extol Media on YouTube, and extolmag.com/weather online. All right, we'll see you at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, Wednesday, hump day, February the 4th. We'll see you later.